Hey guys, and welcome back to Raymore Repair. This is our next project. This is a 1995 XR250R. Alright, we loosened up our clamp, pulled our axle out, and pulled our front wheel off. That's about as far as we got so far. We need to go ahead and strip these down. So I'm going to take this off, and then we'll work on the rest as soon as that's done. Yeah, she's been leaking some oil, that's for sure. Take our speedometer cable clamp off. I hope it doesn't break. Oh, it didn't. Look at that. Go ahead and take off our clamp for our boot. We're going to reuse these, but we got new boots. Because this baby needs new boots. I think that'll be loose enough. All right. Gotta get our brake caliper off the other side. Here's our brake caliper. It is 2-piston. We're going to take it off. Take a 12. The brakes work pretty good on this. I took it for a short ride and made sure all the gears and the transmission worked and all the neat stuff like that. And it does. So, time to move on to other things. All right, moving on up, this is our bottom triple clamp. This is actually a triple tree. We have these rubber dongers that hold the headlight on. We'll undonger those if it's possible. There we go. We can just leave the headlight kind of hanging there and chilling. It doesn't need to move out of the way. Just need to get it loose in the fork. Now, this is where we need to see this fork is flush with the top triple clamp, and so is that one. That's all we need to remember, is go back flush. You know what, I want to loosen up my clamps on my boots. The clamps seem to be hanging on to it. Let's give it just a little bit of love here. Oh, it insists on hanging on to it. Well, we're going to have to stick something in there and kind of pop those open a little bit. To do that, I'm going to go ahead and take the bolts all the way out. There we go. Those are all the way out. Take some medium-sized screwdriver, stick it in here and just flex these a little bit and see if we can get them to let loose. Nope. You know, before we get crazy, I want to get that nut loose on top of the fork. And nothing will ever hold it. Nothing will ever hold it better than the clamp that it's already in. Wrong way. Alrighty. There we go. Yeah, that'll do. I think that'll do. Once again, let's knock that nut loose on top before we get too crazy here. You'd think I'd think of it sooner or later. That'll do. Just want to knock it loose. There's both forks out. See if we can get these boots off here. All right, we're going to go ahead and loosen this up some more because this boot won't slide up. You may end up having to cut it off. There's a clamp. There's one. Ah, there we go. There's one tough boot. That's why they do that. You can't get these from Honda anymore. I prefer the Honda ones, but let's go ahead and slide the other one off while we're at it. You know, since we had such good luck doing the other one. This one is pretty juicy. That should help. I finally ripped. It's okay, they're junk anyway. There we go. That really is a two-piece boot. All right, we're going to try to attempt to get this bottom bolt out. It's a 10mm Allen, and I don't know what I do with my short Allens. All I got, well, is that a 10? Oh, it is a 10. I do have a short one. I can put my long one away, and we're going to see if we can get this to come loose. Oh, it did, and the tube went down. Oh, the washer's caught. Doggone it. There we go. Whew! That hole is chock full of junk. All right, well, that was my main concern, is getting that out. The rest of this is going to go, well, shouldn't say that too soon. Thinking maybe it'll go all right. We'll flip this over and drain the oil out of it. If there's any in it still. Oh, that's some good looking oil there. see that? Yeah, that's some stellar stuff. Yep. I think this thing probably just had pogo sticks for the most part. All right, we're gonna put this back on the floor and let it drain. We're gonna see if we can get this top cap off. I loosened them whenever we had it in the triple clamps, which you saw a little bit ago. It was yesterday for me. I can't remember what happened yesterday. Now there's probably gonna be, well, it doesn't feel like much spring pressure because we already took the bottom bolt out, that's why. Yep. I'm gonna pull the cartridge all the way out of here and see if I can do this without making too tremendous of a mess. I'm gonna scoot my pan towards me a little bit. I know you can't see much down there, but here we go. Yeah. Just like that. Forgot to get me a bunch of pads laid out here to catch all the oil and junk coming out of these. But I will get me a couple more of those. See if I can make this stay here for just a second. Grab me a couple more pig mats. I think I want the big, thick, juicy ones for this job. Yeah, they're going to be juicy, that's for sure. Yep. I think we'll scoot everything down this way just a touch. All right, now then, see how big a mess we make doing this. Lay it out there nice and neat. Now we're going to bring our fork leg up. This is going to slide back in there. And we'll pop this little keeper out of here and extract our fork sealing guide, or bushing. Try to do this without winging myself with too much oil. Of course, I still have my good work shirt on because, you know, why not? Now we'll pop this apart. I think I want to clean that up just a touch before we pop it apart. Whoop, wrong one. I think this one's got some juice. Now then, in our next effort to make a huge mess, that'll be good enough. Got all the dirt and junk out of there, I think. I think that seal, yeah, the metal part's part of the seal. The new ones are a little different. These are OEM Honda seals for this unit. It's coming. There's that part. The washer. Aha! We got her. All right, let's move to the bench. All right, this thing's kind of wonky on here, so let's get it off of there first. There we go. Look at all that junk in there. Holy cow. Can you see that? Yeah. That's a lot. For forks, it's a lot. There we go. There's our top bushing, the washer, seal, dust seal, right there. I know I'm going to have a devil of a time staying in frame on this, but we'll do our best. That might help a bit. Get other bushing off there. Wow, it's in remarkably good shape for all the junk that's in this thing. So is that one. Who knew? Not me. Get that to go down. Looks like a 14 and our other wrench that we already had in there. Knock this cap loose. Yes, I know that wrench is upside down. There's our cap, washer, spring, another washer, and another spring. And now we're down to just our cartridge. Well, let me get over the pan. Hey, sure, we want to get all that oil out of there. That's for darn sure. We're just going to hang this up and let it drip. If it'll hang. There we go. All right, we got one cartridge dripping. These are pretty much disassembled at this point. We can kind of look. Oh, yeah, there's all kinds of junk in there. I think this tells the whole story. I'm going to guess these forks have not been done since I think this is a 95 model. I thought it was a 97, but it's a 95. And I don't know if the fork seals are the same between a 95 and a 97 or not, but we are getting ready to find out. I'm just going to see if these seals fit on this thing. Yeah, that seems right. And we'll check them on this end. Yeah, I think it'll work just fine. Because those are 97 parts, and I know there's a change on the rear suspension anyway in 96. So, the things you know, and the things you don't. You see that fine oil coming out of there. I'm going to take this back to the parts washer and run a bunch of parts washer through it and get most of that oil out of there. Alrighty, it's time to reassemble our fork here. This is our inner tube. We got to put our bushing back on it. That you probably should have really replaced those, but hindsight being 20/20. Then our cartridge here will go inside our inner tube. Come out the bottom like that. This will go on there. I want to wash that out just a touch more. No, I guess it's clean. It just doesn't look clean. Put that on there. This all slides down inside of our fork tube here. All right, then we'll put our bolt in the bottom. We're going to nudge this in with the impact and finish it off with the torque wrench. All right, now we want to get our torque wrench after this and finish it up. Okay, put our axle in so we got some leverage. Set that down there, that way I can hold it whenever I'm turning. I got a splintering into my finger or something. Piece of metal, no doubt. That'll do. That sealing washer is still in there. There's a copper washer. You really should replace it, but we didn't. All right, for our next step, we're going to put our fork, our other bushing in, and then our plate. But let me get a fork seal driver. I happen to have one right here. It's almost like I planned this. And we'll set our fork bushing in. Then the washer. And we're going to give that just a little nudge with our fork seal driver. That's neat. That's kind of stuck in there now. See if we can get him a little nudge to get back out of there. There we go. Then that's in there. We need our fork seal. Brand spanking new one, I might add. And if you're wondering, these are, get the 100 over here, 51490 KZ1671s for this sweetheart. It comes with a seal and the dust seal both. Straight from the mothership. And we are using the Honda 5-weight fork oil. High performance 5-weight, no less. I never heard anybody call any other oil low performance, but everybody claims theirs is high performance. Guess it just depends what you compare it to. We'll lube this seal up, and you always want to make sure that the part with the wire goes on the inside and the writing goes away from the oil. So this has writing on it right here. It tells you what size the fork seal is, and this wire in here, this spring, goes towards the oil. Don't care what kind of fork you're doing, make sure that goes towards the oil. Now, if this was a upside down, we would have put a bag over that to keep from tearing up our seal. I'm fairly sure it's going to be just fine. There we go. Now we'll get our dust seal. Throw that baby in there. Give it a tappy tap tap. We got this metal ring that goes in here. Sits around that seal, and then our keeper. Now, I'm not sure we have everything popped down in there quite far enough to get our keeper in place. No, we don't. There we do. Both ends are sunk in. That's sunk in. So yeah, we're good to go there. And that is the fork back together for the most part. We got to put oil in it, and then we got to put the springs in it. Now we're putting 773 cc's, I think, of oil in this. Let's just make sure. 477. Boy, I was way off. 477 CM3s. It's about 16.13 ounces, or 16.79 imperial ounces. Imperialism, I tell you. Should get us an 82 millimeter link, but I tell you, this is my bike. I just bought this thing, and I'm a play rider, not a serious guy about it at all. So 477, it's going to be. If we were setting this up for a motocross guy or a serious off-road guy, then we would certainly measure the fork oil level. But in this case, we're simply not going to, because it's mine, and that's okay. 477, this is our ratio, right? It's going to be right in between the 450 and 500. That looks pretty darn good to me. I'm going to put this in the clamp, and then I'm going to move you. All right, this is the top of our fork leg. And we're going to start putting oil in here, and then we're going to fill up our cartridge. I know my cup's not very clean on the outside, but it is clean on the inside. Can you hear that? Sounds like me the next morning after Taco Bell. And we're just going to run this rod up and down until it picks up the oil, and it starts getting much harder to do. There, it's starting to pick up. Oh yeah. I'm going to do this until it has the same pull all the way to the top and all the way back down. There we go. Now then, I'm just going to pour the rest of the oil in here. Put the first spring in, well, springs. Cap this sweetheart off. First spring goes in, and these are not progressively wound, so it really doesn't matter which end goes in first. Work that back up. I'm working above you here. Hang on. This is the top of our fork tube, or our cartridge. That goes in here. Then one of these washers goes in here on top of that spring. And then we have our other little cute little spring on here. And he gets its own little washer. And then we got the cap. The cap's just going to screw on there. We're going to bottom the cap out. That way we know they're both the same length. And once we get the cap bottomed out, this nut's going to start coming up. It's going to meet up with the cap. And you can't even see what I'm doing. All right. We put the cap on, and we're letting the cap bottom completely out, and then we're just holding the nut and turning it until it comes up to it. Now this gets torqued as well, so I like torquing things on forks. So let me grab a socket. This gets torqued to 17 foot-pounds. The bottom nut down there, I torqued it to 35 foot-pounds. But I really didn't know for sure if that was 100% right or wrong. I'm going to bet it's pretty darn good. Now we'll pull this down and get our 17 wrench in here on that nut. Grab our torque wrench. We really need them a little closer together. There we go. And that's that. Yep, that seems about right. We'll just screw the cap on. Now the cap we'll torque down after we get it back in the bike. We're just running these down right now. Just like that. And we'll torque that down. There's our O-ring in there, and now then we got new boots to put on these. Oh yeah. They're a little purplier than I would like, but you cannot get the stock boots from Honda anymore. Yeah, I know. Let's see if these are even close to the right size. All right, tear the package completely up and they come right out. I think that's pretty good for sizing. Ooh, they have no holes in them. We're going to have to punch a hole or two in them so they breathe right. But we'll take care of that a little later. I just want to slide these on here. See exactly what they look like. Because right now they're looking pretty purpley. But considering the age of the bike's kind of purpley too. Around the XR, it's kind of got dark blue purple writing. I took that silly tank cover off, so I'll have to show you the rest later. Now the top one, they're not going to tighten up yet, just because we don't know for sure where it needs to be. I think it needs to be about there, considering this is where the triple clamp sits, or the triple tree. But we'll let it tell us that whenever we start putting it back together. Do that about like that. That baby is ready to go back on the bike. Now I'm going to do the other one, but it's exactly the same as this one, so there's really not a lot of reason to make you watch it again. Alrighty, we got our forks mounted back up. Got our luminescent boots on. Not sure I like those. These bolts torque to 24 foot-pounds. These torque to 20 foot-pounds. So it's pretty important that you get these torqued somewhere near right. So yeah, 20 to 24 foot-pounds. I'm sure 24 on both will work. Same thing here. They're all tightened up and torqued down. Our headlights back on. Our boots on. This clamp did perish. I got to get a clamp like this one has. This one doesn't have one. I need to get one for there. Anyway, we're going to set our front wheel back on, and then we'll get the front end kind of buttoned up for now. We're probably going to do steering stem bearings at some point on this rig, but not quite yet. So let's get our front wheel on. All right, first we're going to restart our clamp on here. And I'm going to give this just a touch of a wipe down here. And this has an arrow. The arrow goes up. Then we have our 4 little 6mm nuts. I want that kind of loose and floppy for now. Grab our axle. I'm going to give it just a little bit of lube. All right, we got it all lubed up. And set it down here in the dirt. Grab my wheel. You know, let's go ahead and put our clamp on for our odometer cable. Let's just set it in place. We'll put the screw in it later. Like that. And that'll get this somewhere near where we need to be. I think we need to give this thing a little love too. All right, we got our speedo drive kind of cleaned out here. And we're going to start off by putting our two spacers in here. They go in first. Then we're going to give her some lube. Oh, yeah, just like that. Mm-hmm. We'll grab our gear and just kind of set it down in there. Then we're going to put just a bit more lube on the outside. You know, if a little is good, a lot must be better. There we go. It's all packed pretty good. We'll clean up our mess around the edges. One speedo drive, ready to install. All right, now for the fun part, we'll go ahead and set our tire in, our wheel in. Make sure we get one pad on each side of our rotor there. Kind of like that. I opened those up just a little bit. When you put your speedometer drive in, make sure you just twist it a little bit to make sure it sits down and it's where it goes. There. All right, it's slid into there. We're not tight yet, but we're slid in. Now we'll go ahead and tighten our axle. I was just with a wrench to start because those threads in that fork, I just don't want to screw them up. There we go. And if we get this closer, we'll worry about that speedo drive here in just a minute. I don't remember. Yeah, it's going to sit behind there like that. And we'll just snug this up. Find out what our torque spec's supposed to be on that, and we'll torque it down. All right, this torques to 54 foot-pounds. For the first time in its life it's ever been torqued. There we go. That's in. When I put my speedometer cable in, I always like to turn the front wheel so making sure it slides in nice and easy. It'll line up the groove and slide right in. So I like it when the groove lines up and slides right in. Okay, let's see what these sweethearts torque to, and we'll get that taken care of. All right, these torque to 9 foot-pounds. I think I want to back that one off just a touch first. Do our top ones. That'll do. We got a few things to tidy up here. We got a screw to put into here. And we got to get our boot on there, our clamp on our boot here. So I'll get that stuff taken care of, but that's pretty much it for forks on this thing. We got fork seals and fork oil so far in this project. And I think the fork seals were about $35 for the pair of them. And then the fork oil, not sure. I already had that in stock here at the house, and I don't know what it runs. But I'm going to guess probably about $10 for the oil. So right now we're in this bike for probably close to 50 bucks. I paid $400 for this motorcycle, and we've got another 50 bucks in just doing the front forks. We're going to have a bunch more money in this before it's said and done. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching doing the forks on this thing. We'll do some other stuff on this bike coming up. Appreciate it. Thank you. God bless.